Kia ora and welcome along to Wednesday's look at the national forecast across New Zealand. Well, we've had some fairly windy conditions down across those southern parts of the country and also across the central parts of the Northland. There are still a few watches in place just for the next couple of hours around the middle part of the day on Wednesday. But generally, the story is one of an improving trend. As a ridge of high pressure builds across us, we should find some nice clear skies, and the winds are a lot lighter for many of us, and for most of us as we head through towards Thursday. It looks to be a dry day as well. There's still areas of cloud you can see pushing through us, and I think the forecast for tomorrow really will be one of cloud chasing more than anything else, but there's plenty of dry weather, and the good news is for places like down in Dunedin, the winds are a lot lighter as well. As we go through the night time, you can see that ridge of pressure out over the Tasman Sea. The isobars, those white lines, opening up, a good indication of winds easing away, but we're generally left with this southwesterly feed of air across the country. So still a fairly cool feed of air across us, and we are going to find that's reflected in our temperatures, especially across the Southland and in those areas where it stays clear and the winds really drop away. It will be a cold and frosty night across the Southland. Even up on the Northland, it's going to be a chilly start to the day as we head through towards Thursday. Lows here of around about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius for the likes of, say, Taupo and across in towards Gisborne. But the coldest temperatures, unsurprisingly, down in the far south. Places like Queenstown back to about -2 degrees Celsius. Even through Canterbury, though, look at those lows of about -1 degree Celsius for Christchurch as we head through towards those early hours of Thursday morning. But generally, Thursday is looking like a fairly settled story. We've got this still southerly feed of air. We might catch a few showers around Mahia Peninsula just to start the day, but for many of us, it's a dry looking story through the bulk of the day. A bit more in the way of activity just pushing towards us on that next feature as we head towards the end of the day. But really, with that high pressure over the top of us, for many of us, it's a fine, dry and settled story. Plenty of clear sky, a cool start across the Northland, especially across these eastern sides. Might catch an odd shower here first thing, but I think many of us will find it's a dry story, a touch more cloud out across that western side of the Northland. And you can see as we head towards the end of the day, we start to find more cloud feeding in through Northland and might find a few isolated showers being pushed in there on those southwesterlies, but for the majority of us, it's a dry story with some pretty decent clear skies, even as we go through in towards the night time as well. A touch more cloud return towards that eastern coast later on, but really a good looking story. In terms of our temperatures, highs back to around about 12 degrees Celsius. A colder night though tomorrow night, so Thursday into Friday morning. These are the minimum temperatures you can see in the blue here. Zeros for the likes of Taupo, 2 degrees Celsius for Rotorua, and not far off out towards Napier as well. So a cold day, especially where you get those clear slots and where that wind drops away. A rather frosty start to Friday. So we head down towards the Southland. Again, for the majority of us, it's a dry, fine looking day. There's still a touch more cloud you can see down across those southern parts of the country, down in towards parts of, say, Stewart Island, Southland, and perhaps even towards Otago as well. But that clears away quite nicely. We should be left with some decent clear skies through the afternoon. Perhaps a few pockets of fog just lingering, or fog or low cloud lingering through towards those early parts of the afternoon. And where that does linger, it may be a little bit cooler, but for the majority of us, as we head through in towards the afternoon, there's plenty of clear sky, a touch more cloud pushing back on towards the coasts, but really there's plenty of dry, fine and settled weather as we head through Thursday. Here are our temperatures for the South Island as we go through the day. Top temperatures in places like Christchurch, just about making it into double figures, 10 degrees Celsius here, but again with a clear, cold night. Temperatures back down towards or even just below freezing for those early hours of Friday morning. Down in the far south, down towards the likes of, say, Queenstown, 7 degrees Celsius and -3 overnight. If you head across towards places like Alexandra, where we may find that cloud lingers a little bit longer, you can take a couple of degrees off your top temperatures there. 4s or 5s, I think perhaps the tops will do for the day. But again, another cold night as we head through in towards Friday. But how's Friday looking? Well, here you are. You can see that high pressure is with us to start the day. So for many of us, it's a dry start. This next area of low pressure runs in from the Tasman Sea, dragging in a fair bit of cloud and wet weather pushing in towards the more northern parts of the country. But you can see it's not made much progress throughout the entirety of Friday. And if you're on that eastern coast, it's likely to stay dry right the way through the day. That's it from me, the RemoteMetService.com.